Hello, everyone. I am going to be sharing my thoughts today on semi-final 2 of the Eurovision Song Contest 2024. I have already created a video talking about semi-final 1, the 15 songs that will be competing. That video will be linked in the description. And I have also uploaded a video where I rank all 37, well, I only rank 36 songs. I'll get to that in a minute, but 37 songs 36. In the contest, I don't speak in it, though. It's just my ranking. You can watch that linked in the description as well. But now I'm here to talk about semifinal 2, which will be held on Thursday, May 9th. It's May 9th. And we've got, well, we have 16 songs officially, but I am only going to be talking about 15 songs, okay? For those of you who are in the know, and probably are if you're clicking on this video, you probably know what I'm referring to. So, without further ado, I will just get it out of the way because this country is participating in this semi. I am not going to be discussing Israel's entry for 2024, at least at this stage. I have not heard the song, as I said in the first video I made. And I do not plan to listen to the song until the semifinal. I am curious to see the song, I think, when it's performed. I just, I can't help it. I don't know if there's really that much I can do to I'm not going to be watching it live. I'm probably going to be catching it on replay because of the time differences in the States. So I don't know if they make it to the final. I will probably make sure to walk away during their performance because I certainly don't need to see it twice. But I don't want to give that video, especially on the official Eurovision page, any views or any likes or anything like that. So that's why I'm just choosing. I've heard a snippet of the song on Twitter, and I've seen a bit of the lyrics because, of course, the lyrics were a huge part of the debate over that song and Israel's participation this year. And so I talk about this in the semifinal 1 video, so I'm just going to recap, but I'm not going to dwell on it for too long. I do not believe that Israel should be participating in Eurovision this year. It's a shame that world events are really kind of sullying this contest, and I think Israel's participation is bringing a lot of controversy that no one needs. And I think this is actually backfiring on Israel too. So I know it's controversial, it's contentious to talk about these things, but I like to stay somewhat informed, and although I am not exactly 100% informed as to what's going on, based on what I have seen and heard spoken about, there is just Netanyahu's government, the way that they've responded to the horrendous attacks in October, the terrorist attacks, it's a cycle of violence that I don't see ending anywhere positive, and I do not think that the Netanyahu government is going in the right direction to deal with this issue. I think they're actually exacerbating it. And I also think that at this time, it's just very tone deaf for them to be competing, especially considering the EBU banned is Russia in 2022. So there's a lot of rule breaks. There's a lot of stuff that if you look at Khan, the broadcaster, and what they've been saying and what they've been doing, some of the jokes that they've allowed broadcast on their platform in Israel recently, in regards to other countries and other broadcasters, some of the things that they've been saying, the political meddling, I think it is very clearly violating a lot of the apolitical rules that Eurovision has in place, but they're getting shrugged under the rug. And I do believe that the ultimate reason is because the current sponsor of Eurovision is an Israeli company, Moroccan Oil. And sponsorships are really needed to keep this contest afloat. That's why we have the Big Five. I don't like the Big Five. I go on every year, I talk about how I wish we would get rid of the Big Five. But every time it's explained to me, I'm like, I guess we don't live in a perfect world. And countries like Germany and the UK are not willing to put ego aside and contribute a lot of money to a contest that they might not actually be in the grand final for. It's like, well, you should put your ego aside and think of it as for the greater good of all of Europe, not just your own country. But anyway, Israel is almost like a part of the Big Five. I mean, they're sort of the sixth member. Well, Sweden is also a part of it, you know. They're like the big seven countries, let's be real. Sweden and Israel are sort of those. And so that's why it's really hard to disentangle Israel from Eurovision right now. And you know, there's going to be growing pressure. I haven't seen a lot of this, but we have the Olympics coming up this year. I'm really wondering how that's going to go down. I think, you know, you have a lot of people who watch Eurovision more casually who are not going to care that much about whether Israel participates or doesn't participate. But I think because Eurovision is generally a contest that is viewed by, I think, predominantly a very progressive fan base that is very much into activism, you're going to see a lot more pushback than perhaps you might see for like the Olympics or the World Cup, even though I'm sure there will be conversations around that. The Eurovision is coming under a lot of scrutiny. I read recently that Malmo, the capital, the city that this is being hosted at in Sweden, they hosted it last in 2013. They are going to be undergoing the most security and police presence in Swedish history the week of Eurovision. They are going to have police forces and armed forces from all over Scandinavia. It is going to be so locked down that it's really sad. The threat level is worryingly high, and I'm not trying to worry too much because there's so much to worry about in this world, but you know, you have to ask yourself, you know, there possibly was a way to prevent it being so contentious and of a risk. I do feel for Eden Golan to a certain degree, although she's very voluntarily chosen this role and she's very aware of what she's representing. So still side-eye quite a lot. But I read that it sounds like she is not going to be allowed to leave her hotel for the vast majority of the week. She's going to be essentially on lockdown for the entire duration of the contest. I mean, is it worth participating to have that kind of experience? I really question that. And you can look at it from the side of people who are supporting Israel in this as well, as this is maybe not, the risk is not worth any potential reward. And we'll talk about Israel's qualifying chances. Unfortunately, I am preparing myself for them to qualify. I'm going to talk about that when I go through. I'm going to start out the video by talking about the songs I'll talk about the songs in how I would like the contest, the semifinal to run, for the results to be. So I'll talk about my most favorite, my least favorite, and I'll work my way into the middle songs. And I'm like, it could qualify, it could not. I wouldn't mind so much. Then I'll go through and I will show my estimated predictions. And these are not my own personal preferences. These are based on what I'm seeing, you know, people say on Twitter and certain polls and all sorts of stuff. So anyway, Israel's inclusion this year is really sullying the image of not only the 2024 contest, but Eurovision in general, at a time when Eurovision is already struggling. You know, we're having countries not coming back, withdrawing. It was really hard to see North Macedonia go. We lost Romania last year. Montenegro. Are these countries coming back? I hope so. We did gain Luxembourg, but at the cost of losing so many other countries that, you know, in the last decade or so, it started to become regulars. Of course, we also sadly lost Hungary, but that's due to political reasons in the country. The left would love to come back, but that's a similar situation in Turkey. So Eurovision could be heading to a rocky place. And, you know, I hope for a very smooth and I hope for a contest that is, as they say, apolitical, but at the same time, when you're making these kinds of statements, you know, having certain countries participate. And Azerbaijan, I side-eye as well. I talked about that in semifinal one, for those of you wondering. I also personally would probably want to sideline Azerbaijan right now for what they're committing against the atrocities committed against the Armenian people in Artsakh since 2020. That war is completely going under the radar, unfortunately, due to other wars that are getting more publicity right now. But unfortunately, countries are, if you look at them too closely, most of them are somewhat problematic, especially in history. So there is, you do get to the point where it's like, where's the line of acceptability? And unfortunately, we decided collectively in the West that, Russia bad, Israel, no, not bad. And I would beg to differ. And again, I'm talking about the governments. I'm talking about the current governments, not the general people who live in these countries. I feel for many of them, and many of them disagree with their governments. So that's it. I'm gonna get off my soapbox with that. I mean, it's really kind of, talking about this stuff is not fun, because I know that there's a lot of both sides are extremely, I hate both siding some of these arguments, but I also don't want to alienate some people. But it's really horrible what's going on. It's really horrible. And a ceasefire is 100% what is needed right now. So that should be, releasing the hostages, but in a peaceful way, and working towards a two-state solution. That should be their priority, not sending someone to Eurovision. Okay, so let's go through all the 15 entries that I will be talking about today in semifinal 2. So my favorite entry in semifinal 2. This has changed a little bit since I initially made the 37 song ranking. But I'm sorry, I kind of am a little bit like, wow, Arthur, you're so predictable. My favorite entry that's participating in semifinal 2 is going to the Netherlands. Joost Klein's Europapa. This song definitely has the it factor to potentially win. I would put this song as one of the top 3 biggest contenders. There are 3 songs I think have a really good shot at winning this year. They are Switzerland, Netherlands, and Croatia. I just feel I just feel that the energy around those songs is strongest. Italy would be my 4th biggest bet. But Joost Klein, this song has grown on me. It is not, compared to what you might see in the music video, a joke entry. If you listen to the lyrics, it is honoring his father. I want to leave the Netherlands, but my passport has disappeared. Fortunately, I don't need a visa to be with you. So take the bus to Poland or the train to Berlin. I don't have money for Paris, so I use my imagination. Do you have a euro, please? I say thank you and please. I've lost everything except time. So I'm traveling every day because the world is mine. Welcome to Europe. Stay here until I die. The lyrics are tongue-in-cheek. They're a little bit, Irland du point, at times referencing escargot. I don't want fish and chips. Don't need paella. I don't even know what that really is. Turn on the radio. I hear Stromae with papai Thai. It's a Eurozone blender of references. But the overarching concept, I think it has a comment about borders and the EU, but I don't think it's anti-EU. I think it's very much just a reminder that you can travel so freely within the EU, but travel in itself isn't going to fix underlying issues. Where your home is very much more rooted in where your family is. And he's mourning his father, and he just really wants to be with him. I think he's, trying to chase the high of travel to sort of forget and to hold, when he really is just missing his father. I think that's what I'm really getting here. He says that his father gave him an expansive view of the world. He says Europapa is about an orphan who travels throughout Europe and beyond to find himself and tell his story. At first, people don't recognize him, but he goes on seizing any opportunity he gets to let himself be seen. There's nothing more Eurovision than this message, and it's a perfect way to spotlight it. I think a song that has subtext that, is, definitely going to be lost on those who don't speak the language, but still there. But also very catchy, fun, choreographed dance breaks, interesting instrumentation, a very modern electronic dance music sound that is very Dutch. If you think of Dutch, you think of EDM, you think of the Netherlands, right? There's sort of the Netherlands is sort of considered one of the great pioneers of EDM music. And so I think that there's just, the music video, so many, it's a small world, kind of like windmills and paella. I just think that this could be a really fun package on stage, and I think Juiced has so much charisma. There's what I loved about the Roop is there's a really quirky but easy to do dance for everyone to get like to learn really quickly. Um, and so everyone can get on their feet and remember the song. That means it has TikTok ability, and that'll go far. It's a populist song. That's what Croatia has as well. Except this one's more radio friendly. It's just a little more digestible. And perhaps, yeah, the charisma comes across a little clearer. But I think both Baby Lasagna and Juice, they're very lucky to be competing in separate semis. But I would be super surprised if both of them didn't win, because again, it's popular vote only in these semis now. I mean, I would be super surprised if it wasn't a clean sweep for both of them in the semis. It'll just be interesting to see how they compete against each other in the grand scheme of things. So, Malta. Malta is the song that is the worst. It's the weakest link in this semi. Sarah Bonici's Loop. I have similar issues to with Moldova's entry in semifinal 1. The song is limp and not captivating in any sort of fashion that feels. I mean, Moldova at least has some originality. This song feels like a knockoff of so many other tempo, Hurricane by the Serbian group, Loco. Forgetting these names. The Eurovision, the Serbian girl group, Chanel, Noah Kirill. I mean, it really is. It's hard to differentiate, and I just don't feel anything from this one. I don't really think the production is captivating. I don't really think that the hook is welcoming. I'm not feeling it. And so maybe it'll be amazing on stage, but I'm not looking forward to seeing this one. And I don't think that there's a lot of hype for it. And unfortunately, Malta, it can struggle, and it usually does. But my second favorite, yeah, at this point, probably, is Switzerland. Nemo's The Code. In my initial ranking, I did have this song a little lower, but it's grown on me. I think at the beginning, it was just taking a little time to digest. Nemo is non-binary, and I love the LGBT plus representation this year. We have Bambi Thug as non-binary as well. We also have Ollie Alexander, and we have Musty. There's one other, I think, LGBT, Asaba. We have a ton of LGBT. I mean, I guess Eurovision usually does have a healthy sampling of LGBT members, but I just love seeing so much of it this year. This song is ecstatic, and I feel that exuberance coming across, but also the frantic kind of anxiety as well. And the vocals are going to just explode. I'm really excited. Hearing it live, I get goosebumps. I think that this has the package that could really elevate something like what Duncan Lawrence did, but make it even more memorable. Because Duncan Lawrence's Arcade is a beautiful, sentimental song, but I think that Nemo turns it into an event. Similar to also what Jan's Tears did. I prefer Jan's Tears songs to both of his songs, Répondez-moi, and to his 2021 song. Pardon me, the name of it escapes me at the moment, but I'm really excited for what Nemo can bring with this one. And the styling and the overall kind of package. So this is one to watch. I think that this is potentially the dark horse of the race, even though maybe not so much. I think that people have seen it creeping up in the odds and are just getting really excited around this one. And the only thing I have heard is people saying they don't want Switzerland to win because I saw a graph that showed Eurovision cities ranked by cost and what would be the most expensive city to ever host Eurovision currently right now. And Zurich was at the top. And, I'm not sure if Geneva was on that list, but I wonder if Geneva would be just right under there. Switzerland would be an expensive place to host Eurovision. So, yeah, poor people's wallets. We might want a Croatian win because Zagreb would be pretty cheap in comparison. So, Croatia would be affordable. The Netherlands wouldn't be cheap either. So there's that. My second least favorite song is gonna have to go to Latvia. We have Hollow by Dawns. I really feel for Latvia. They're struggling to qualify every year, never really working. It's not working for them. The song feels a little hollow. I'm sure I'm not the first reviewer to say that, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I really don't. I just think this one's I don't want to say dead on arrival, but I think it's really going to struggle to make a connection. If the Netherlands last year couldn't qualify with what they had, I don't see how this can. Because I was rooting for the Netherlands. I was really sad they didn't make it through last year, and this is a way weaker version of that kind of ballad. And of course, it's not even a duet. I'm not really sure his stage presence is going to really be that engaging. There is a power to his voice, and I don't want to dispute that he isn't a good vocalist, but I'm not sure. I think that I need to see again all of the figures in the blue outfit engaged with him on stage like we do in the music video. That's crucial. It can't just be him standing there. So Belgium was going to be my second favorite, but then I still love this entry. I really do. This entry was one of the first immediate entries for me this year, where I heard the hook, I heard the melody, and I was just like instantly sold. And I don't understand people who don't love this song, to be honest with you. This song is theatrically epic and swelling. It's the kind of male power ballad I would love to see do well. Because I also Musty, again, a gay man. Lyrically, I'm not that invested in it. I think it's a more by the numbers power ballad that could be about anything. It doesn't feel super personal to him, like the code is, but it's not also impersonal. I do feel a little bit more paint by numbers with some of the elements of the song, as though this was written by Sia and not for him. Like he didn't write it, but that's how the case is. I'm sure he had some hand in writing these songs, but Eurovision is about performing, and the songwriters are often not the people who perform them. The vocal could be shaky. I'm a little worried about this one, and that's what's going to make or break this one qualifying. I'll talk about it in my predictions video. But let me tell you, I have this one as my third favorite of the semi. I do not think it is going to come third in the semi when all is said and done. I think that unless he has a knockout vocal performance, this one might have some trouble. I think that people are just feeling it's a little bland, and they're not getting the swell of it. They're not feeling the way it just punches you with that. I really do wish, I will say, that instead of just repeating before the party's over in an almost screaming belt, I do wish that there were parts of the final chorus where he continued that vocal melody line that I think weaves through the song so well, of the "Are you breaking the rules?" and the way he carries that note. I wish that note was sustained more in the refrain of the final chorus, because I just think that that's the final stitch in the fabric that is needed to fully make this song chef's kiss. So we'll see. I'm excited for him. He's definitely one of the winners of my Eurovision Husband Award. I always give it out, and I think Musty is probably the man of this year's Eurovision that I am the most excited to see on stage. I don't know. He's very attractive to me. So, yeah, that's that. I'll say that. San Marino, I have pretty low. Again, I think this one isn't going to qualify just by San Marino and their luck in the past. I actually think it's really catchy. Megara 1111. I find myself like the melody just gets stuck in there. A rock song that's digestible for everyone. It's sort of like Veronica's kind of. It's not quite Paramore-esque. I do like the guitar solo, but I don't know. I don't see this having the it factor to qualify in this semi. All right, so my fourth favorite out of this group is going to Norway with is it Gote Ulvaham? I'm so sorry to all Norwegians if I'm mispronouncing these things. But Ulvaham is something so refreshing and exciting for Norway. Norway has not sent a song in Norwegian since at least the 90s, possibly like the 80s. It's been a long time, I think the 90s. And so for Norway to be doing this, I mean, Denmark has sent songs in Danish in the 21st century, but not Norway or Sweden. And I don't know if Sweden is gonna, I mean, Sweden hasn't done it since the 90s either. I don't know what it's going to take for Sweden to do it, but Norway doing it is a big deal. I'm like really proud. And not only that, but this is a very Nordic sound. If anyone is familiar with the Faroese artist who is also part Norwegian, Ivor, this is straight out of the Ivor plague book. And I love Ivor. I would actually love to see her represent for Norway at some point, although maybe she would represent actually for Denmark. I'm not entirely sure which one. She could do for either. Obviously, the Faroe Islands don't have representation. I mean, she could technically probably do Iceland. Ivor would be great. I love her music. She does a vocalization technique that is a yodel that is very common in Nordic folk music, and it just explodes. It's like a shrill, wild yell, and it's very, very artistic. I'm just in awe of the package. Even if I'm not like madly in love with the melody, I think the verses are so brooding and mysterious, and then it kind of explodes with that guitar slash EDM kind of it almost feels like it wants to go in a dubstep direction. Maybe it's a little too heavy on the DJ table booth, mixing booth in that department, the blending of modern and kind of old world. But I think that's really interesting, and Eurovision does need that for that kind of dynamism. I think that this song will do a lot better than, like, if we remember France in 2022 with Foulaine. They tried to do old world and new world technology really, and it didn't work very well. And I really, that was so heartbreaking. That song did not deserve to come so far at the bottom. But Overham will have so much more, I think, appeal. I think it'll have the Spirit in the Sky kind of crowd kind of enthusiasm. I was such a fair and sightly maiden with an evil stepmother. My mother, she died. She turned me into a sword and a needle and sent me to the king's estate. And the anger my stepmother felt the most, that all the stately liked me best. Then she gave me skin like a grey wolf. She cursed me to walk the forest alone, and never will I be whole and good before I drink my mother's blood. I then tore out her heart, so her blood flowed free. Then I got to drink my brother's blood. Yeah, heavy, dark Norse poetry here. I would expect nothing less. And so I'm really excited for the package here. This is the kind of Nordic heritage that I want to see spotlighted from countries like Norway, Denmark, and Iceland and Sweden. I'd like to see more of this, please. Sweden, take notes. Sweden, take, because Denmark's done it a little bit. We had Rasmussen. It was a little cheesier, but it Denmark has at least somewhat gotten the memo. Czechia is tough. We're getting to the songs that I think have a shot at qualifying, but I still wouldn't have them qualify in my semi. I think Pedestal by Aiko, it's not doing enough. It's fine. I think a lot of people initially just completely wrote it off because I think her performance at the national final selection show way back in January was really lackluster. And she's improved a lot since then. But I don't see this song I just see it getting very lost in the mix. I keep forgetting that this song is competing. It's really hard. I'm like, there's always one song I'm forgetting, and I'm like, oh, Pedestal. Yeah, this song doesn't make much of an impression. But a song that does make a lot of impression is my fifth favorite of semifinal 2, Armenia's entry, Jaco by La Daniva. This is, again, spotlighting ethnic flavor so richly and wonderfully. And a song in Armenian for, I believe, the first time since, what was that 2009 song called? I'll have it in the description. I'll have it down there. Loved that entry. It's one of my favorite Armenian. John? Is that what it was? I think this is the first time. Or what about Kami? Was Kami in Armenian? It might have been as well. There is a Bollywood sound, but let's not forget that, Bollywood is not, there's musicality doesn't have strict confined borders. There's elements of that sound in a lot of different cultures. So it might sound a little Bollywood to a lot of people. I think the flute is what kind of distinctually makes it sound different to me. There's just so much eclectic energy. I mean, it's a very, I think they even say opa at one point. You would almost be mistaken if this wasn't a Greek, dinner party song. It's just everyone has to get up and dance and smash a plate. And the most Armenian visuals ever displayed in the music video. Everything is just a rich tapestry of culture, and I'm sure that will come across on stage. I'm just really excited to join in on the fun. I really enjoy this entry, and I just want it to do well. I'm a little worried about it. This is the first entry I'm talking about in my qualifying stack that I'm a little worried about because, does this have mainstream appeal to the level that I need it to qualify? Because again, there's no juries. Yeah, I'm a little worried. I'm always going to be rooting for these ethnic entries that are so educational in musicality and in celebrating the culture, and also catchy and fun to dance to. There's just so much to love here. So then my borderline song is Denmark. This is Saba's song, Sand. This is a really tricky one to predict. It's the song I had the least confident on where it could go. I could see it sneaking through. I could easily see it coming in 11th place. I think Saba is a power vocalist, and I feel she's singing her heart out there. Will it be enough? I don't know. People didn't like Michael Rice. People didn't, like Tusa even that much. A great vocal, and that, sounds like it comes straight off of American Idol or X Factor, but maybe that's what hurts it. It sounds a little too generic. There's not a lot of personality imbued in the songwriting, that it feels a little bit like anyone could sing this. It's just lacking a little bit of that personality, but it still has a lot of heart. And I think that Saba will be an engaging performer. I feel like you'll be watching her and you'll be feeling that emotion coming through really viscerally. So I want her in the final, but I'm going to be honest. Right now, I have her actually edged out, which is a little sad, but I'll talk about why. Though, I mean, again, this is what I'd want to have happen. So I would be totally okay with Denmark swapping out with Estonia. That's just all I'm going to say. I could take either option at this point. So now let me talk about the 4 middle songs that I think are going to qualify, but I'm unsure of. Georgia has the best shot at qualifying since 2018 when it last did qualify. Georgia has a real shot here. Firefighter is a bop. This is the fuego, the replay of the year. This is the song that is going to have potentially the most ecstatic, exuberant energy on stage, I feel, at least in this semi. And so I'm definitely hoping that Georgia wipes the floor with Malta, and we get a super, I think, a pretty safe qualification here. I'm feeling good, as long as it's not like how Albania did a few years ago, where there was like some problems with the vocal, but then there was also some problems with the performance itself that the juries knocked. Remember, the juries aren't going to be involved this time. I think we'll be okay. We have Greece. We have the Tourism Board of Greece presents Zari by Marina Sati. What a different song. What a different song. And I think standing out is important this year. So I think this one is comfortable. I do feel like there's not really a lot of vocal here, and I do feel that is it's like a lip sync song to me. I'm just not expecting I'm not expecting to be impressed or really at all interested in what she's doing vocally. I'm expecting to just want to see what's on the LED behind her and what the dancers are going to be doing. Because that choreography has got to be like really tight and synthetic and really integrated with the performance. It's got to just be like its own organism, I feel like, to really sell the Greekness, the energy. Yeah, it's got like a Nintendo kind of beat to it. I don't know how to explain it. But I like the backing of like the way, oh, way, oh, way. Like I don't know. I do. It's a little eyebrow raising, but it's very Greek, and I really do want, again, just like with Jacko, like all the Greek, throw all the Greek that we can at this kind of song, this contest. Showcase your culture. May no pain come to us. I fall and roll like a dice. I pretend to forget your name, and everything changes around me suddenly. Where will the wind take us? I'm going to do it my way. I'll be in and out of your mind. I think that it's an interesting choice to pair a song that's obviously about getting over a breakup into a song that's so much about showcasing Athens. I do feel there's a bit of a disconnect there. But as a non-Greek speaker, that doesn't bother me because I just don't, I'm just here for the rhythm and the vocalization and the syncopation of everything. All right. So we have Albania, Besa's Titan. A little bit of a paint by numbers melody. I think to like that metaphor here. This is the other big question mark. I would say Denmark, Estonia, and Albania. I mean, two of them will get in, but which two? That's sort of where I'm at this point. I'm not sure. And so we'll see. I do think that staging wise, it'll probably be something we've seen before. I just get that feeling. Whereas, like, I feel like what Marina Sati is doing, and potentially at least to the level of energy and what we get from some of these entries, I do feel like we might have a little bit more. Okay, so there's another country I do want to talk about. I actually think we'll go above Albania, and that's Austria. So Colleen's entry, We Will Rave. I think that this one is probably safe, but people are talking about it like a little more concerned, I think, these days. I mean, I don't think that this song is good or bad. Like, I just think it's very 2010s, early 2010s EDM. And there's definitely space for it. I think that it's a little refreshing to hear a song that's unapologetically four on the floor. We seem to be moving away from that. The sort of cascada stuff. I love cascada, and this song is just very much in that conversation. And I don't think it's cheesy. I think that it's fierce. If you take away the sexy men from the music video, I almost feel like that's distracting from like what's really there. It's a fun rave party song, but I think that we have smarter, more interesting, energetic dance numbers. So Austria is probably safe, but it's cusp, it's borderline, along with Albania. And then we have Estonia. Now, Estonia, so when I said that there are three songs, I meant Austria, Denmark, and Albania. Those are the three songs that I'm a little bit like, I don't know. Now, Estonia, I think will qualify, but I have it at the very bottom of my qualifiers list. When I saw that this won Estilal, I rolled my eyes because I did briefly sort of look and see what was competing, and this was not at all what I would have chosen. But now that I've had some time to, sit with it, I mean, it has got the wackiest title. I'm not going to bother to pronounce this. What a mouthful. We really don't know anything about these drugs. I never looked that up until this moment, and now I'm just like, okay. Estonia is another one to watch. I could see this being the Moldova of this year. 2020's what was it? 2022's Moldova's entry was no one saw how good it did with the popular vote because these guys are coming to have the best time in the world and to just I respect it to a certain degree because I respect it more than Finland. Because I think that Finland is just a guy in like underwear dancing on stage, kind of just like thinking he's so funny. And I'm like, it's just not funny anymore. It's like old and past. It's past. It's expired. Don't find this interesting. You're one notch above. I Don't Feel Hate from Germany a couple years ago. Like what year was that? I can't remember. Like you're scooch above that level of tacky. But this song, it's casually referred to as the drug song. I mean, it does have a lot of people in kind of a collaborative way using different instruments with everyone has a part, similar to how Croatia was last year, and that qualified. So this one, I mean, we do need some levity in the contest, and we do need something to sort of, yeah, smile, kind of be like they're having a good time. I don't know. I just worry that we get a little too into a place where song composition and vocal is just completely out of the conversation, and we're just here for vibes and being silly on stage. And that's where the song is like I can see it doing to a certain point, and then beyond that, I'm like, if this song creeps up into like beyond the 10th spot on the scoreboard, I'm going to be mad. This song could comfortably be in spots 10 through 20. I won't have a problem with that. But you get it into the slot 9 and especially 8 or above, and I'm questioning some things. I'm like, I don't think in this lineup we have, I'm talking about the grand final, by the way. But this song qualifying is fine. When I first heard it, I said, no, please, I don't want this qualifying. But now it's more clear to me that Finland's the one that should go. Boy, some of the Estonia and Finland are just here to be weird this year, aren't they? Yeah, this is the first time they've sent a song in Estonian since 2013. And I loved that entry. The Birgit entry, I actually heard it for the first time not that long ago. I've been refamiliarizing myself with 2013 Eurovision. And that was a great song. It did okay in the contest too. So I could see them having a similar result. And if you watch the music video, yeah, they're trying to convince police officers that they have no idea that the substances they have are that they had them and that they were drugs. It's like the ultimate shrug emoji song, you know? Sorry you found us with narcotics, but would you like to try some? I know you have cold, long, dark winters, Estonia, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I want to smoke whatever it is that's you're smoking there, but it's a little wild. But it has grown on me just a decimal. Whoever the first time listening to it, you're just like, what? There's no melody. There's just this noise. It's just noise. There's no vocal. That's of any consequence. It's just. But I don't know. Maybe I've listened to the studio cut a little more than started to come together. But yeah, so this will be interesting to see. But let me go through my predictions. So let me just say, this is how I would stack. You know what? Now that I'm here, I'm gonna swap out. This is so hard because I really do love Denmark. But at the end of the day, maybe I would put Estonia through over it because I do feel like at the end of the day, it's different. Denmark has been giving is similar to what we've seen a million times. So that's how I would break down, how the points would be, if in a perfect world and of course it comes down to the actual performance. This is largely based on the old national finals performances and the music videos and the audios, studio. But here are my predictions. Very different. So I have my non-qualifiers as Malta, Latvia, Czechia, San Marino, Denmark, and Albania. And I think that's kind of the order I would best predict that I think Albania will just make it, but maybe Denmark, one of those could switch. And then unfortunately, I think Armenia is actually one of the cusp ones. I have Israel coming in at about 7th place, qualifying. And I hate doing it. I could see it coming anywhere lower than that. I'd be very surprised if Israel comes above 7th place in the semi. But the chance that it gets below 10th, I think, is slightly low, just because I think there's a real zealous support of that group of people who are very fervently wanting to make a statement. And political voting, when you have popular votes, I mean, it's not like you can erase it. It does help not having the juries to a certain degree. I think the juries might have tried to tank it. But again, I haven't heard the song. But I also I read that some Israeli outlets were not impressed by it. They didn't think that the song was that great. And that's coming from the perspective of we should be participating, but they felt like we should have sent something better. So I'm not sure all of even diehard, Zionist Israel fans are, in Eurovision are all on board with this song. They like what it represents, but they don't think that it's actually that objectively good. Um, so I'll be interested to see how it shakes out. But yeah, this is the sort of, I do think the Netherlands and Switzerland, and I have Estonia at the third because I just think if we're going by popular vote, Estonia is coming like top 5 in this semi. I don't see how it doesn't, unless it's something just. I mean, if it becomes a Circus Marcus, I would be totally happy with that. But for some reason, people hated Circus Marcus. I would take Circus Marcus over this. I thought that was kind of fun. But this is just, there's nothing to really, besides seeing older Estonians on stage, which I do like that, because they seem like fun boomers, having fun on stage. And we love to see boomers having fun on stage, I guess. I don't know. What are your thoughts? What do you predict? What would you like to see happen? What are your faves and least faves of this semi? Do you agree, disagree with mine? I'd be really interested to hear. I hope you all enjoyed this video. At the end of the day, I do think that semifinal 1 is maybe a little more up in the air than semifinal 2, but I don't think either one is the easier semi. I think that there's definitely strong competition in both this year. It's been like last year, it was very one-sided. So there is that. It'll make both nights very interesting to watch. Please give this a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more content. Next, I'll be covering the Big Five plus the host country, Sweden. Be talking about their entries sometime before the end of the month. I need to get these up. Eurovision is almost upon us. I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed day. Peace, love, and light. Thank you all for watching. Bye.